जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा।
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा।
जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा।
जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा।
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा।
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा।
जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा।
जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा।
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा।
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा।
जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा।
जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा।
श्री चैतन्य भागवत की जय। श्रील वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण राम हरे हरे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to Saturday's Chaitanya Bhagavat reading. Today we are going to read from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Leela, chapter 26. Shuklambara Vijaya Prasada Varnanam Tatha Vidyarthi Shodhana Rupa Yati Dharma Grihannecha Varnanam. Cha. Description of mercy to Shuklambar Brahmachari and description of the Lord's desire to accept sannyas when his students tried to correct him. So we are going parallelly in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat, which is very nice. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we are in the last chapter of the Adi Leela. So, which is the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and his youth. The final pastimes are the Lord's decision to take sannyas. One second, I think we went too much. 28, we have to go to 26. This is 25. Yeah, 26. So description, so we'll read further. So we saw in Srivas Thakur's house, his dead son got up and spoke philosophy. That was what we read in the last session. So now we are reading about the Lord's mercy to Shuklambar Brahmachari, and also we will see why the Lord decided to take sannyas. A song. Jaya Jaya Jagata Mangala Gaura Chandra Dana Deha Hridaya Tomara Pada Dvandva. O Lord Chaitanya, O auspiciousness of the worlds, glory, glory to you. O Lord, please place in my heart the gift of your 2 feet. Ekadina Shuklambara Brahmachari Sthane Kripaya Tahne Tate Anna Magila Apane. One day, Lord Chaitanya mercifully begged food from Shuklambar Brahmachari. The Lord said, I have a strong desire to eat food that you offer. Don't be afraid. What I tell you is my firm decision. Again and again, Lord Chaitanya spoke in this way. Hearing this, Shuklambar, in a voice choked with emotion, said, I am a beggar, a lowly, degraded, condemned sinner. You are the eternal religion personified, and I am fallen. O Lord, when will you give me the shade of your feet? I am not as good as a worm or an insect. You are only playing a big trick on me. Lord Chaitanya said, please don't think in your heart that this is a trick. I feel a strong desire for your cooking. Go quickly and prepare an offering to the Lord. I will come at midday today. Still, Shuklambar was frightened at heart. He asked the devotees what he should do. They all said, why are you afraid? The truth is that he is not different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. He always tries to eat food offered by persons who worship him with love. He begged food from Vidura, who was a Shudra's son. He did that because of Vidura's devotion. The Lord begs food from his devotees and eats what they offer. That is his nature. You go home, prepare an elaborate meal, and offer it to him with love. If you still feel fear in your heart, then don't touch anything while you cook. I wonder how that's possible. But if you still feel fear in your heart, then don't touch anything while you cook. You are very fortunate that the Lord is so kind to you. Hearing these words, the Brahmana happily returned to his home. After bathing, Shuklambara carefully heated some scented water. He cooked rice with splendid garbha khoda. Not touching anything as he cooked, the Brahmana folded his hands. Jai Krishna, Govinda, Gopal, Vanamali, Shuklambar happily chanted. At that moment, Goddess Lakshmi, who is very devoted to her husband and who is the mother of the worlds, glanced at the devotee's food. At that moment, the food became the sweetest nectar. After his bath, Lord Chaitanya came there. He came with Nityananda and some other associates. Lord Chaitanya changed out of his wet clothing. Hungry, the Lord happily glanced at Shuklambar. The house was near the Ganga. Then the food was very happily offered to Lord Vishnu. Smiling, Lord Chaitanya sat down and happily ate. Filling his eyes, he glanced at his servants. Lord Chaitanya said, who eats what Brahma and the demigods offer in yagyas? Now I ate the food offered by Shuklambar. Matlab means who wants all the elaborate food cooked by the demigods with their, demigods themselves don't eat any food which is not cooked in ghee. They only cook in ghee and they only eat food which is cooked in ghee. That means very, very opulent prasadam. And Mahaprabhu is saying, who eats what Brahma and the demigods offer in yagyas? And by the way, what they offer in yagyas, what are they offering in yagyas? Of course, they offer elaborate food offerings also. We saw in the Krishna Lila, the Yagya Patnis. They cooked so many varieties of offerings to be offered in the Yagya. So, who eats those? Mahaprabhu is saying. But today, I have eaten the food which is offered by Shuklambar. That means this is much superior, like that. It is very difficult to become fortunate like Shuklambar. Acha. Sorry. Let me say it again. This is not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaking. This is Shuklambar, this is Vrindavan Das Thakur telling us. Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying, Lord Chaitanya, who eats what Brahma and the demigods offer in yagyas, now ate the food offered by Shuklambar. That means Shuklambar is so fought, not from the perspective of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but from the perspective of Shuklambar Brahmachari. Shuklambar Brahmachari got to cook and feed that personality who is always eating food which is cooked by Brahmaji and the demigods. He eats food cooked by Lord Brahma and the demigods. That personality today ate what Shuklambar has cooked. How fortunate is Shuklambar? That's how we should take it. Lord Chaitanya said, so now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking to Shuklambar. Lord Chaitanya said, from the time of my birth, I have never tasted any food more delicious than this. That means all the food that he ate so far, that was cooked by various personalities, Mahaprabhu is saying, I have never tasted anything more delicious than this. This is also very interesting because we see this in Srila Prabhupada's pastimes also. I heard from the devotees, from His Holiness Chandramauli Maharaj, once he made, was it Radhanath Maharaj? I think Chandramauli Maharaj. Once he made Sandesh in New Vrindavan. And Srila Prabhupada ate that. After eating, he said, Srila Prabhupada is from Bengal. Sandesh is a sweet of Bengal. Srila Prabhupada is saying, I have never tasted Sandesh, such first class Sandesh in my entire life. So on this, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj said that, do they actually mean it when they say that? Of course they mean it. But it is a way of expressing their affection and their pleasure, happiness because really what is it that Krishna is tasting? Krishna is tasting the bhakti of the devotee. Same with the spiritual master. The spiritual master is tasting the bhakti of the disciple, not the things themselves. So the more bhakti, the more delicious it becomes. The offering becomes more delicious. So in Mahaprabhu's Leela also we see Raghunath Das Goswami, he was eating the food that was rotten, right, left over, which is discarded even by the cows. He would take that, he would rinse off all the rotten part, take the inner hard portion of the rice and collect it, wash it thoroughly, and then that was his meal. And Mahaprabhu once came to his house and he forcibly took it. I heard you're eating very delicious food. I have come to eat. And Raghunath Das Goswami said, no, my lord, this food is not fit for you. No. Forcibly Mahaprabhu took and he ate. And then he's like, oh my God, now I'm dead. And Mahaprabhu said, I have never eaten anything more delicious than this in my entire life. Like that. Same with, if you remember, Sridhar, Kolavecha Sridhar. After the Nagar Sankirtan going to Chandkaji's house, Mahaprabhu went and drank from the dented cup, iron pot of Sridhar. He just drank from that. Again, right? This water, today my life is successful because I have taken the water of Sridhar, like that. So here Mahaprabhu is saying about Shuklambar Brahmachari's offering that since my birth, I have never tasted anything more delicious than this, right? From the time of my birth, I have never tasted any food more delicious than this. What a compliment. How delicious is this Garbha Khoda? Garbha Khoda is like pumpkin, right, Mataji? Aditi Lata Mataji? You have an idea?
I have no idea, Mataji.
You
Never
have no
heard.
idea. Okay. Yeah, I'm assuming it's Garbha Khoda is like a pumpkin. It grows on the roof like that. How delicious is this Garbha Khoda? I cannot describe it. How, not even touching it, did you cook food like this? So, is the Lord in the heart? So the Lord knows. How did you cook it so nicely and so delicious without even touching it? How can anyone cook without touching the vegetable? You are one of my friends. Friends like you are the root from which I grow. Lord Chaitanya cast a glance of mercy at Shuklambar. All the devotees wept. Again and again, the Lord relished the food in this way. Filled with bliss, he ate. The non-devotee sinner millionaires should see the mercy the beggar Shuklambar attained. Right? Those who are millionaires but who are not devotees of the Lord, they should see the mercy that this beggar who has nothing to his name, the mercy that this beggar Shuklambar has attained from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. By wealth, by followers and material learning, one does not attain Lord Chaitanya. The Supreme Lord is conquered by the nectar of devotional service. This all the Vedas sing. The Lord sat and lovingly ate. Then, smiling and smiling, the Lord chewed betel nuts. Accepting the remnants from the Lord's plate, the devotees, overcome with bliss, forgot everything else. Brahma, Shiva, and Anantasesh would respectfully place that plate to their heads. So, how glorious is that plate with the remnants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and how fortunate are these devotees who could partake of the remnants of Mahaprabhu. This is another whole story. In the beginning of Chaitanya Mangal, we see how just for one grain of rice, one little grain, broken piece of rice, which is the remnants of Lord Vishnu. This is Mahaprasadam. Narad Muni gets from Lakshmi Devi and he goes into ecstasy. And that little bit, he's sharing. And then Lord Shiva gets some, and I think Parvati Devi, maybe she doesn't get. Yeah. So then she becomes very sad. Lord Shiva is going wild, dancing in ecstasy with that. And then Parvati Devi says, "You didn't save anything for me," like that. Yamaraj and everyone, just that little bit. So that's the glory of Mahaprasad. So there we see how the demigods are yearning for just a little bit, a small piece of a piece of a grain, right? A small piece of a grain of rice, Mahaprasad from the Supreme Lord. And here there's a whole plate of remnants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the devotees are all very happily partaking of it. So, accepting the remnants from the Lord's plate, the devotees, overcome with bliss, forgot everything else. Yeah. Brahma, Shiva, and Anantasesh would respectfully place that plate on their heads. How much bliss there was in that beggar's home. In this way, Lord Chaitanya happily enjoyed pastimes. After some time spent in talking about Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya lay down for a nap right there, Shuklambar Brahmachari's house. After some time spending in, this is lunch, after talking for some time about Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya lay down for a nap. The devotees also lay down for a nap. Then one in their midst saw a great wonder. Sri Vijayadas, if you remember, we were reading in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Vijayadas. I told you he's a scribe. So it's coming here. Sri Vijayadas was one of the Lord's students. That great soul then saw something of the Lord's glories and opulences. No one in Navadvip wrote as gracefully as he. He personally copied many books for Lord Chaitanya. Everyone called him Vijaya, the penman. Still, because they had no devotion, most people did not understand his heart. As he lay down, Lord Chaitanya rested his hand on Vijaya's body. How fortunate. Vijaya suddenly saw many great wonders. He saw the Lord's hand suddenly become like a great lofty pillar. So Mahaprabhu's hand is resting on Vijaya's body, and everyone is taking a nap, everyone fell asleep, and Vijaya's, his eyes were open, and he saw all of a sudden Mahaprabhu's hand started growing bigger and bigger and bigger, like a pillar, like a great lofty pillar. His hand just got so big. Then he saw the Lord was covered with jewel ornaments, right? His hand was covered with so many fingerings, jewels. Because here Mahaprabhu is playing the role of a Brahmana, right? But here now, like very, very opulently covered with jewels, ornaments. Then he saw many jewel rings on the Lord's fingers with the splendor of how many millions of suns and moons did those jewels glisten. He did not know. The Lord's jewels are all transcendental. So the effulgence coming from each of those was like the light coming from millions of suns. How can our eyes behold that much light? So he didn't know. It was just right there in the home of Shuklambar Brahmachari. He's seeing this wonder. Seeing Lord Chaitanya's effulgent hand spread everywhere, even up to the demigod Brahma. Vijaya rejoiced on seeing all this. Vijaya suddenly called out. So he just couldn't contain that ecstasy. He started screaming. Lord Chaitanya then placed his graceful hand over Vijaya's mouth. So that hand just spreading everywhere with all the jewels. Vijaya saw that and he was amazed. And then he started screaming, maybe like, I have seen, or something like that. And everyone else is asleep. So Mahaprabhu just put his hand on Vijaya's mouth. Lord Chaitanya said, for as many days as I am here, don't tell anyone of this. Speaking these words, the Lord smiled and glanced at Vijaya. Vijaya jumped up and roared. Vijaya's roar awakened the devotees. They tried to hold Vijaya still. No one could hold him. For some moments, Vijaya was like a madman. At the end, he fainted in ecstasy. The devotees knew Vijaya must have seen some wonder. Everyone wept. The Lord asked everyone, what did he say? Suddenly, Vijaya began to scream. Then the Lord said, so the Lord is asking everyone, what is he saying? What happened? He screamed, what happened? The Lord asked. Then the Lord himself said, I think it must be the power of the Ganga. Vijaya was very devoted to the Ganga because Shuklambar Brahmachari's home is next to the Ganga. So Mahaprabhu is saying, this must be the power of Ganga. He must have seen something wonderful about the goddess Ganga because he was very devoted to the Ganga. Or perhaps not. Perhaps it's because of the deities in Shuklambar's home. Or perhaps Vijaya saw Lord Krishna. After speaking these words, Lord Chaitanya placed his hand on Vijaya's body. Vijaya suddenly regained consciousness. He was unconscious all this while. So when Mahaprabhu touched him, he regained consciousness and all the Vaishnavas smiled. Rising up, Vijaya was stunned like an inanimate object. He was he was not in this world. He was like a stone, looking into shunya. He was like in another world. He he was in a shock after experiencing that ecstasy. So when he woke up, when he rose up, he was still, like lost. Vijay was stunned like an inanimate object. For 7 days, he wandered Nadia like this. That means he would just be going, not responding to anyone, not talking, like a madman, literally lost in something. For 7 days, he wandered around Nadia like this. He did not eat, he did not sleep, he ignored his body. In this way, Vijaya wandered about. No one understood his heart. Mahaprabhu told him, don't tell anyone. As long as I'm here in this world, don't tell anyone about this, Mahaprabhu had said. So he couldn't tell anyone, but he couldn't contain it within himself, so he became stunned. After some days, Vijaya returned to external consciousness. These wonderful pastimes happened in Shuklambar's home. Who has the power to describe Shuklambar's good fortune? Lord Chaitanya personally accepted the food he cooked. Accompanied by his associates, Lord Chaitanya enjoyed these pastimes in fortunate Shuklambar's home. Simply by hearing these pastimes of the Lord's eating, Shuklambar's cooking, and giving mercy to Vijaya, one attains the great treasure of pure devotional service. So all of you will receive pure devotional service simply for hearing this pastime of how Mahaprabhu accepted the food cooked by Shuklambar and how he gave mercy to Vijaya in Shuklambar's home. In this way, Lord Chaitanya, before whom all the Vedas bow down, always enjoyed pastimes in Navadvip. Accompanied by Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya enjoyed pastimes like this every day in the homes of each of the Vaishnavas. Every single day he would enjoy pastimes like this in each of the Vaishnavas' homes. How fortunate are those devotees? Lord Chaitanya was always agitated by tasting the nectar of ecstatic love. In this way, he manifested his different natures. He manifested the natures of Matsya, Kurma, Narasimha, Varaha, Vamana, Ramachandra, Buddha, Kalki, and Krishna. All are not mentioned here. We only heard one pastime about the hand of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? But every day he was manifesting something or the other to each of the Vaishnavas. Sometimes he would show his Matsya form, sometimes Kurma, sometimes Narasimha, sometimes Varaha, Vamana, Ramachandra, Buddha, Kalki, and Krishna. He manifested the natures of all these avatars. On the pretext of being in ecstasy, the Lord manifested all these forms. Each of them he manifested and then hid. For many days he would not stop the nature of Lord Balaram. Entering the nature of Lord Balaram, he became as if wildly intoxicated. Bring wine, he screamed. Understanding the Lord's mood, Nityananda, who is Nityananda? Balaram himself. Nityananda filled a cup with Ganga water and respectfully offered it to the Lord. So the Lord would say, bring wine, and Nityananda Prabhu would fill a cup with Ganga water and offer it as if it were wine. Offer it with respect. Respectfully offered it to the Lord. The Lord screamed and roared. Because of that roar, Navadvip and every other place in the three worlds trembled. Then the Lord danced wildly, and the whole earth seemed to break into pieces. Not that there was an earthquake or something, but it appeared like the earth was about to break into pieces. The earth and all the universe was thrown into chaos. Seeing the Lord's dancing, all the devotees became afraid. Everyone sang songs describing Lord Balaram. Hearing these songs, Lord Chaitanya was overcome with bliss. Swaying and staggering like an intoxicated person, Lord Chaitanya wandered in the courtyard. How handsome was Lord Chaitanya in the mood of Balaram. Gazing and gazing at him, the devotees no longer felt any of the troubles of this world. Everyone gazed at his indescribable moon-like face. Very loudly he called, Nityananda, Nityananda. Sometimes Lord Chaitanya would return to external consciousness. He told everyone, my life breath is leaving me. Lord Chaitanya then said, oh Father Krishna, your elder brother Balaram hit me and you always protected me. After speaking these words, Lord Chaitanya fell into a trance. Seeing all this, the frightened devotees loudly wept. After speaking these words, Lord Chaitanya fell into a trance. Seeing all this, the frightened devotees loudly wept. Oh, I read that. The Lord enjoyed these very wonderful pastimes. Lord Chaitanya, the son of Jagannath Mishra, danced in many different moods. Sometimes Lord Chaitanya felt the mood of separation. At those times he was plunged in an indescribable and very wonderful ocean of love. At those times, Lord Chaitanya cried out and wept. Hearing him, the numberless worlds broke into pieces. Forgetting who he was, Lord Chaitanya became wild with love for a person that was actually himself. He was wild out of love for himself. Previously, the gopis, overcome with feelings of separation, feared they would die when the moon rose. Accepting the gopis' mood, Lord Chaitanya held the devotees' necks and wept. Seeing Lord Chaitanya overcome with ecstatic love in this way, Sachi, the mother of the worlds, wept at home. How can a mere human being have the power to describe these manifestations of Lord Chaitanya's wonderful, ecstatic love and devotion? Accepting different moods, Lord Chaitanya would dance in different ways day after day. One day, Lord Chaitanya, the master of the universes, accepted the mood of the gopis. Then he chanted Vrindavan and Gopi, Gopi without stop. Let me see how much more is there because we are running out of time. Okay, short, we'll finish it. No problem. Yeah. One day, Lord Chaitanya, the master of the universes, accepted the mood of the gopis. Then he chanted Vrindavan and Gopi, Gopi without stop. Not understanding the heart of the Lord's ecstasy, one of his students approached him and said, "O Nimai Pandit, why do you chant Gopi, Gopi? Stop chanting Gopi, Gopi. Instead, chant Krishna at once. What piety will be born by chanting Gopi, Gopi? Chanting Krishna's name brings piety. The Vedas say so." The foolish student did not understand Lord Chaitanya's different ecstatic moods. Lord Chaitanya gave this reply: Krishna is a thief. Who would worship him? He is an ingrate. He killed Vali, even though Vali did nothing wrong. He is a debauchee, conquered by women. He once cut off a woman's nose and ears. He robbed Maharaj Bali of all his wealth and threw him down to Patala Loka. What will I gain if I chant this Krishna's name? After speaking these words, Lord Chaitanya, still wrapped in ecstasy, took a stick in his hand, ran after the student to beat him. The student jumped up and fled, calling out, "Stop, stop!" Lord Chaitanya chased him. Seeing the angry Lord, stick in hand, chasing him, the bewildered student fled. The student could not understand Lord Chaitanya's different ecstatic moods. Fearing for his life, the student fled. Frantically running, the devotees caught and grabbed the Lord. Gathering around him, they all pacified the Lord, while the frightened student ran far away. Breathing heavily and his body covered with perspiration, the student ran to the other students. The students asked the reason for his fear. The student replied, "Why ask? Today I am lucky still to be alive. Everyone says Nimai Pandit is a great saint. So today I went to his house to see him." Right? So, this was some other student. He heard that Nimai is a great saint, so he went to see him. "I saw him sitting down and chanting japa of Gopi Gopi day and night. He did not chant anything else. I said to him, 'Pandit, what are you doing? You should chant Krishna Krishna. That is what the scriptures say.' Hearing these words, he became aflame with anger. To beat me with the stick in his hand, he chased after me. Again and again he blasphemed Lord Krishna. I have no power to place those blasphemies in my mouth. Somehow I saved my life. That's why I can speak to you today." Hearing all this, the foolish students laughed, and they spoke what was in their hearts. One student said, "The people say he's a good Vaishnava, but he angrily chases a Brahmana to beat him." Another said, "If he does not chant Lord Krishna's names, how can he be a Vaishnava?" Another said, "What I have heard is very strange. A Vaishnava who chants only Gopi Gopi." Another said, "Why should we be respectful to him? Do we not also have Brahminical power? He may be a Brahmana. Are we not Brahmanas also? If he attacks us, why should we tolerate it? He is not the king. Why should he punish us? We should all gather together. If he attacks us again, we should not tolerate it. He may be the son of Jagannath Mishra in Navadvip, but we are not the sons of ordinary men either. Yesterday we all studied together. Why should this fellow all of a sudden become the big master?" In this way, the sinners express their opinions. Lord Chaitanya, who is the super soul in the hearts of all, knew all they said. One day, Lord Chaitanya sat down with his associates around him in the four directions. Suddenly, he said something unusual. No one understood its meaning. Everyone was startled. He said, "The medicine Pippalikanda was prepared to cure excess mucus." Pay attention. The medicine Pippalikanda was prepared to cure excess mucus, but it had the opposite effect. The mucus only increased. This is called speaking in an indirect way. Remember the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the 10th chapter is spoken in a paroksha way. Paroksha means in an indirect way. Why? Because Krishna likes indirect talks. So here also Mahaprabhu is speaking indirectly. Mahaprabhu is saying the medicine Pippalikhanda was prepared to cure excess mucus. It's supposed to cure mucus, rather, but now it is having the opposite effect. By taking Pippalikhanda, it's increasing the mucus. Saying these words, Lord Chaitanya, the master of all the worlds, loudly laughed. No one knew why the Lord spoke these words. Fear was born in everyone. Nityananda knew the Lord's heart. He thought, soon the Lord will leave home. Aware that Lord Chaitanya would accept sannyas, Nityananda became plunged in grief. Thinking of how Lord Chaitanya would become a shaven-headed sannyasi, Nityananda felt his life breath attacked by grief. The next moment, Lord Chaitanya grasped Nityananda's hand, took him to a secluded place and sat down with him. Lord Chaitanya said, "Saintly Nityananda, please listen. I will tell my heart to you. I came here to deliver the world. It has not become delivered. Now it seems that I have come here to destroy the world. How is their material bondage becoming destroyed? I see that where there was one rope of material bondage, now there are millions of ropes. Now they have decided to beat me. That means they will enter into complete bondage. I descended to this place to deliver the world, but now it seems that I must kill everyone here, right? That means they're committing offenses to me. By my coming here, they're committing offenses to me. So I'm causing them, instead of being delivered, I'm causing them to be killed. Killed means further bound tightly in this material world. They'll go to hell. They'll suffer like anything because I'm here. Because I'm here, they're offending me. By that offense, they'll go to hell. But actually, I have come here to deliver all these suffering souls. I descended to this place to deliver the world, but now it seems that I must kill everyone here. Look, tomorrow I will shave my sikha and take away my sacred thread. Becoming a sannyasi, I will go begging. I will travel from place to place. Tomorrow I will be a beggar at the doors of the people who now want to beat me. Seeing me, they will respectfully grasp my feet. In this way, I will deliver all the worlds. Everyone bows down before a sannyasi. No one will attack a sannyasi. Tomorrow I will become a sannyasi. I will beg from every house. I will see who will attack me. I have told you my heart. I will renounce household life. That is certain. Please don't be unhappy at heart because of this. Please give me permission to accept sannyas. I will do whatever you say. You know why I descended to this world. Therefore, please give me permission. If you wish to deliver the world, then please do not forbid me. Please don't be unhappy even for a moment. You know why I descended to this world. Hearing that Lord Chaitanya's Sikha would be gone, Nityananda felt his heart, mind, body, and life breath become ripped into shreds. Now, this is something that we cannot comprehend. Nityananda Prabhu, this is Nityananda Prabhu's emotions. He felt that his heart, his mind, his body, and his life breath were being ripped into shreds. What? When he heard that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sikha would be gone. What would Nityananda say? No words came to his mouth. In his heart he thought, the Lord will do it. No one can stop him. Nityananda said, Lord, your wish is always fulfilled. Lord, whatever you wish will certainly happen. Who has the power to order you to do anything or forbid you to do anything? Whatever is in your heart must be the spiritual truth. You are the protector of everyone. You are the master of everyone. Whatever you decide is good. In front of the Lord, what can anyone say? Right? It's like, it was like death to the devotees, but they couldn't say no. And why death? It was worse than death. You are the protector of everyone. You are the master of everyone. Whatever you decide is good. Lord, you know what should be done to deliver the world. Who else knows? You are completely independent. Whatever you do is full of bliss. Whatever you decide will certainly be. Still, please tell this to all your servants. Please hear what they will say. Then you may do whatever you wish. Who has the power to thwart your will? Pleased by Nityananda's words, Lord Chaitanya embraced him again and again. This is love. This is real love, right? We see some, or we saw in the past, some emotions in movies of two people being separated and crying, and we get carried away. That's just a reflection. That's not love. This is love. This is real. These emotions, because it's based on the platform of truth. It's on the absolute platform. So out of separation and love, so Mahaprabhu embraced Nityananda Prabhu again and again. Accepting this advice, Lord Chaitanya went with Nityananda to the assembly of Vaishnavas. Nityananda thought the Lord will renounce his home. Externally, Nityananda did not manifest anything, but his whole body was numb. Stunned, Nityananda thought in his heart, after the Lord has left, how will Mother Sachi remain alive? He's not thinking about himself, he's thinking about Sachi Mata. How will she live after he leaves? How will Mother Sachi pass the time, her days and nights? Thinking in this way, noble-hearted Nityananda fell unconscious. Thinking of how Mother Sachi would suffer, Lord Nityananda went to a secluded place and repeatedly wept. Meanwhile, Lord Chaitanya went to Mukunda's home. Seeing the Lord, Mukunda became joyful. Lord Chaitanya said, sing a song about Lord Krishna's auspicious glories. Mukunda sang. Listening, Lord Chaitanya was agitated with ecstatic love. Listening to saintly Mukunda's splendid voice, Lord Chaitanya, the jewel of the Brahmanas, roared, sing, sing. After some moments, stopping his ecstasy, Lord Chaitanya conversed with Mukunda. Lord Chaitanya said, Mukunda, please hear my words. I will leave. I will not stay here. I will definitely renounce household life. I will shave my shikha and travel from one place to another. Shaving shikha means taking sannyas. Hearing that the Lord would shave his shikha, Mukunda, overwhelmed by thoughts of separation, fell to the ground. All his joy was now destroyed. With a voice trembling with emotion, Mukunda begged, Lord, if that is your wish, you will do it without fail. Please stay like this for a few more days and perform kirtan here. After that, O Lord, do what is in your heart. After hearing Mukunda's words, Lord Chaitanya went to Gadadhar. Gadadhar respectfully offered obeisances to the Lord's feet. Lord Chaitanya said, Please hear my words. Gadadhar, I will not stay at home. I will go wherever Lord Krishna orders. I will not keep my sikha. I will shave my head and go in one direction or another. Hearing that the Lord would shave his sikha, Gadadhar felt as if a thunderbolt had fallen on his head. Unhappy at heart, Gadadhar said, Lord, your words are very strange. Merely by shaving his sikha can anyone attain Lord Krishna? Why can you not remain as a householder and a Vaishnava? By shaving your head, will you gain some religious benefit? Obviously, you think that you will. The Vedas do not hold that opinion. How can you abandon your widowed mother? From the first, you will be responsible for your mother's death. If you go, she will not stay alive. You are all she has left. You are her life. Is the Supreme Lord not pleased by devotees who stay in their homes? A householder is pleasing to everyone. If you still wish to shave your head, then do it and go away from this place. In this way, Lord Chaitanya visited the different Vaishnavas one after another and told them all, I wish to shave my sikha. Hearing that the Lord would shave his sikha, each one of them fell down. Consciousness did not stay in their bodies. Thinking of how Lord Chaitanya would shave his sikha, all the devotees wept. Someone said, how will we place flower garlands on his graceful curly hair? Another said, if I cannot see his neatly tied hair, how will I be able to maintain this sinful life? Saying, never again will I smell the splendid fragrance of his hair. Another beat his head. Another said, will I ever again anoint his graceful hair with amalaka? Calling out, Hari, Hari, everyone loudly wept. The devotees were drowning in an ocean of grief. The two moons, Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Sri Nityananda, are my life and soul. I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their feet. Hare Krishna, dear devotees.
Mataji, how did he cook without touching it? Touching the food.
We
Shuklambaras.
don't know. Even Mahaprabhu didn't know. But we know Lakshmi Devi came there.
After cooking, no? But before cooking, how did he
No,
touch?
no. While cooking, when he chanted Krishna, he came into the kitchen. He had everything set up there, and then he's chanting while cooking. Well, so while has everything, he's there and he's chanting Krishna Vanamali Govinda Gopal. But how he was able to cook, I don't know. It's not said there, so how can I say? Mahaprabhu himself is saying, how did he cook such delicious prasadam without even touching it? So I don't know.